led me to the current position that I now have been in for over 30 years and just promoting Memphis. And it was funny when I worked for Holiday Inns and I was literally traveling all over the world with them. And I would talk about how great Memphis was wherever I traveled, and to the point of where Holiday Inns, they nicknamed me Mr. Memphis because I would end up talking more about how great Memphis was. I would almost do that more than I would be talking about Holiday Inns, which was my day job.
Welcome to Memphis Mike and Friends. Mike and his friends will take you on a journey along memory lane while at the same time discuss current events. We will talk Tiger sports, the Grizzlies, and just about every other relevant event in our area. But not just sports. We may ramble on about almost anything. Along the way, you'll hear from Mike. You'll get to know all the friends and meet a lot of interesting people along the way. Here we go with another episode of Memphis Mike and Friends.
Hey, this is Mike Hobday, and welcome to the Memphis Mike and Friends podcast. Today, my co-host, we haven't had him much, but the one and only talented Mr. Scott Morton. How are you, Scott?
Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? It's going to be a good day today. I look forward to our guests that we got coming on today, and it ought to be a great show.
Yeah, since Scott is on the road working right now and joining us at the same time, this episode is brought to you by Courier Services. If you need something couriered, you need to call this guy, Scott Morton.
That's right. We are Memphis' premier business-to-business courier service incorporated. I am located right now in parts unknown in North Mississippi because that's a great wrestling term.
I was fixing to say, who are you? Yeah, you need a mask now.
Get Lance Russell to introduce us. That would be
Banana
great.
nose. Oh, Lord.
I know it. So who we got today?
Kevin Kane. Yeah, the man. Memphis
Mr.
Visitors
Memphis.
and Tourism, and he wears several hats, I'm sure. Since we live here, we can't, A, appreciate what he does as much, probably, and B, we don't really see it a lot. Unless you go downtown and you see 1,000 people and you feel like somebody's messed up because now you got to sit in line for a while.
The things he does for our city that we're not the target audience for that.
Exactly. But we do benefit from it, though.
We do, absolutely. Everything, I know the tax dollars that are generated from tourism and the places that we have and the things that are just right in front of us, sometimes that we, quote, never been to or haven't been to in a long time.
Right.
We get to go there and it's fun for these things. And it's been a great thing for your podcast, Mike, that I've learned about the zoo and I learned about just different places that we know. And it's funny that we know people that we go, I don't know what he does. And then you find out, you go, oh man, you just got to hear about it in different places.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll have a little panic. I'm like, we're going to run out of guests. We'll never run out of guests because there's always, it may not be 1,000 Kevin Kanes out there, but there's a bunch of people out there doing some interesting things that benefit the city and us as citizens. To dig a little harder sometimes, but everybody knows each other. That's why I always say people that I don't know and vice versa. And I've heard 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, all those things. I don't know Kevin Bacon, but ananyway. But yeah, Kevin is
66 degrees of separation.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Kevin's got his name on a skybox over at the FACS. So he's up there in high cotton there, right there.
We spent a lot of time. That's where my kids went to school at FACS. And I had an opportunity to work with Kevin just briefly in the football when our kids were playing football there and to do some work with him in the press box. But he was a fixture there for a long time. I'm sure we'll find out a lot more about that whenever we talk to him.
Yeah, I like to get the story behind that. It's kind of interesting. I knew he was there a long time. But anyways, let me dial Kevin up here and we'll get going. Today, we are spending some time with Mr. Kevin Kane. And Kevin, what exactly is your title these days?
CEO of Memphis Tourism, another name for the Memphis Convention and Visitors Bureau, and also Memphis Management Group, which is the management company that is in charge of operating and managing the Renaissance Convention Center in downtown Memphis.
Okay, so you carry 3 cards at all times, sounds like.
But tourism and hospitality, we do wear a lot of hats. We also are responsible for the Memphis Sports Council, which basically brings a lot of the sporting events or work with other organizations to bring sporting events to the city, whether it's an NCAA regional for men's basketball or amateur youth soccer or youth baseball or basketball or cheerleading, you name it, we go after it. Yeah. So it's anything that brings people to the community is something that we're involved in.
That's good. We'll talk more about that for sure, because that's pretty intriguing stuff. So let's back up a little bit. Where did you grow up in town?
Well, I grew up in the lifelong Memphian. I grew up in the High Terrace area off of Walnut Grove and in the High Point Terrace area. I went to St. Michael's Elementary School on Summer Avenue. And from there, I went to Christian Brothers High School. And then from there to the University of Memphis. It was Memphis State University at the time. And basically, I've been in the tourism and travel hospitality industry my entire career. Fortunately, I've been able to stay in Memphis most of that time, almost all of that time. I've made a north of a 40-year tourism and hospitality career, and I didn't have to travel too far away from Memphis to do that.
That sounds interesting you say it that way. Were you very athletic in school? Did you play a lot of sports?
Well, I was okay athlete. I did, I walked on and played 2 years at Memphis State University, the JV basketball team. And in the early 70s, freshmen were just beginning to be eligible to play on the varsity. If you remember when Larry Finch and Rodney Robertson, they played on the freshman team because they weren't, and when they came up, which was just a few years before me, the freshmen were not eligible. That started, I think, in 1973. Freshmen were allowed to play on the varsity teams. But they still had JV teams that lasted a few more years, probably another decade after that. I was on one of those teams for 2 years when Wayne Yates was the head basketball coach at Memphis.
I probably saw you play because I used to go, I'd go early to the JV games because I was a basketball hound before. A lot of times they were before
we
the
would,
men's
we,
game.
we would play at 5:30 in the Coliseum, and the varsity would play at 8 o'clock back in those days. We were the warm up. We were the warm up act for basketball players that were obviously a lot more skilled than us.
Well, but that would be what you played at that level. That's pretty fun, though.
Well, we did have a number of scholarship players that 2 years that I played. John Kilzer, Steve Meacham, Buster Hancock, Dennis Isabel. And some of the stars in the varsity my 2 years with Bill Cook and Marion Hager, Dexter Reed, Clarence Jones. So they were pretty decent teams back during that time. Nobody wanted to, the freshmen didn't want to practice with us. So our coach, Steve McHugh, was the junior varsity coach, and we practiced harder than the varsity. Steve Meacham and John Kilzer and those guys, they didn't want to practice with us because we practiced really hard. But it was a great experience. So I'm a lifelong Tiger fan. And as I say, that was a great victory we got in football the other day at Florida State.
That was awesome.
I know they're struggling, but it was great. It was a great win still for Memphis to get that game on the road.
Well, I was listening to sports radio earlier, and boy, the whole Pac-12 thing is loud now. The drum is beating pretty hard, and I think they're in town even. So it'll be interesting to see how that rolls. So,
well, it's the college sports is from the NIL to conference realignment to really wonder where the NCAA is even going to, what role they're going to play in all this over the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, I could really see the top 60 or so Division I football programs just doing their own thing. So we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, I'm just glad that Memphis is, constantly in a conversation to try to better themselves, and that's all you can hope to do.
Well, it's all right. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I was just intrigued whenever you were talking about the JV stuff, because I've been going to, my mom and dad have had season tickets since '67, and we used to go to the early games and watch the JV. And I didn't know that. That's interesting for me to hear. My mom and dad still part of that, and they'll be going, oh yeah, I remember that. So
well, my claim to fame and what I always like to tell people, they retired my number. I was number 25. And that, of course, that was Penny Hardaway's number.
Right.
So, in fact, I had Penny a couple of years ago came and spoke to our industry at one of our annual meetings. And when we brought him up to the stage, I showed a picture of me in the Memphis uniform, number 25, from the 70s. And I jokingly said to the crowd and to Penny, I said, Penny, you and I have in common that a lot of people don't realize that the university retired our number. Unfortunately, they still haven't put my name underneath yours of wearing number 25. I mean, they see your name's up there, but my name's not up there. And then I showed the picture of me wearing number 25, that classic Memphis jersey that the Tigers have worn. That Tigers have worn those as throwbacks from time to
Oh
time.
yeah.
So it's pretty funny. And Penny got a big kick out of that.
I'm sure your banner's up there with that championship banner. This so
Yeah. Yeah. Go look.
Yeah,
Somebody go check
well.
RC's closet. There's something in there. It's interesting, weird, and actually a little sad. Penny's is the last jersey that was retired. If you look up there, so it's been that long since we've retired a jersey. You come through with the Calipari era with the one and done kind of thing, and down with the NIL, gosh, you get half and done almost.
Yeah, it's a different world now for sure. In fact, my youngest son, who graduated from CBHS last year, he's a freshman at the University of Arkansas, and he's one of the managers on Coach Cal's men's basketball team.
Oh wow!
He's with Coach Cal on a daily basis. So
well, he'll learn a lot of new cuss words.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach Cal, he was great. You know, I know when he left, a lot of people, in my opinion, gave him a bad rap. But you know what? He gave us some great years and some great memories. And I don't, you can't blame him for. He had to do what he had to do to better himself, and that's what he needed to do, and good for him. But the years that he was here, I thought he did a great job for the city of Memphis and for the University of Memphis.
He did, and we won't ever forget those years because they were great, and we had good times. And yeah, yes, we treat our own selves like a stepchild sometimes.
That's right.
We do, and so that's something he gave us, or he was here and he brought to us, and we gave him. Everybody work together and stuff like that. That I think the way he left there has left a sour taste in us. But you're right. He's got to go improve on himself. And just like Coach Norvell just did, we couldn't blame him for going because we're not the top of the heap here. And so I told Mike and I both got to meet him a couple of times, and we told him, go get that money, man. So
yeah,
that's what you got to do.
And make sure your $1.3 million check does clear when we come down to pick it up. Thank you very much.
There you go.
But yeah, no, yeah, I don't want to beat one drum on Cal, but yeah, I agree with everything you guys said on that. So I'm not going to repeat any of that, but we definitely had some fun times, man. I'm telling you. And hopefully we'll get those times back. This program's, we go in cycles. And so we'll see what happens. So what did you major in at Memphis?
I majored in marketing.
Okay.
And it was a business education major, majoring in marketing. And initially when I started in college, I wanted to be a high school basketball coach. And that's what I thought I was destined to be. And somewhere along the way, I shifted my sights towards travel and hospitality. And even before I graduated from college, I started working for an airline at the airport and got the travel industry and hospitality industry bug and just stuck with that from that point forward. I did coach 7th and 8th grade basketball at First Assembly Christian School for a few years, and I also was a varsity girls basketball coach and varsity girls tennis coach at Lausanne School in the late 1970s, and but then it really got fully immersed in the hospitality industry after that. It's a great experience.
Sure.
And it's amazing. I still see a lot of people who are now coaches at other schools that I coached when they were in the 7th and 8th grade. Coach Ross Spain at MUS, and John Harrington, who's an athletic, who's the head basketball coach at Briarcrest. I mean, I had great relationships and connected to Tim Haney, who was the head football coach at Houston for a number of years, in Bartlett, where he wrapped up his coaching career. I had pretty strong connection to high school sports that literally lasted for decades after I quit coaching. But I was the voice of the FACS Crusaders for 40 years.
Yeah. So how did that happen?
Well,
tell us about that, because I wasn't part of that, just briefly. So
they started a football program, and Ed Hanks, who owned all the Kentucky Fried Chickens restaurants in Memphis, donated a field that he had out on Bartlett Road.
Oh yeah,
down from the right off of Summer Avenue, and they turned it into a football stadium. And anyway, they were approaching their first varsity football game, and I was sitting in the coach's office at that time. And at that time, FACS only went up to the 10th grade. They were adding a grade every year. So, but their first year of varsity football, they only went to the 10th grade. And because the school only went to the 10th grade. So anyway, they were about 2 weeks from their first game. They said, gosh, we don't have anybody to announce our first game. And I was just happened to be sitting in the in the coach's office. And I said, "Oh, I can do that. I'll be happy to do that for you." I thought I would do it for 1 or 2 weeks. Little did I know I would do it for 40 years.
Oh my goodness.
It was something that, I graduated from Christian Brothers High School. And of course, we didn't even have a football stadium. We played all of our games at Alley Stadium at the time. We didn't even have a home stadium when FACS first started playing out on Bartlett Road. When Christian Brothers got a stadium, people were saying, "Well, gosh, you need to go over and start announcing Christian Brothers games." But by that time, I'd been doing it for FACS for quite a few years. I just couldn't break that loyalty. And I continued to do it, for 40 seasons.
Yeah. What was your connection with FACS? You knew some of the coaches there or
Well, my connection was I was coaching their
girls?
7th and 8th grade. No, it was their 7th and 8th grade boys basketball and baseball teams.
Okay.
And that was my connection. And my connection was my house. As I told you, I grew up in the High Point Terrace area. Well, First Assembly initially was on Highland,
Good point.
which was just minutes away from High Point. And that was the connection.
Wow. 40 years. And now your name is on it. What does it feel like to have your name on a press box?
Well, it was interesting. I didn't know they were going to do that.
Oh,
And it was already named after Captain Ashmore, David Ashmore, who was a staunch supporter and used to cut the grass on the field. And he was also in the press box with me for many years. He was ultimately a retired police captain. And until he passed away, and of course I continued to do it after that. Well, we named the press box after him after his death. And little did I know that the school went to Mrs. Ashmore, his widow, and asked her if they could add my name to that press box. And she graciously agreed to do that, allow that to happen. And that's how it came apart. I didn't know they were going to do that. They did it at the first game after I had retired from announcing the games. And it was interesting. When I was out on the field, I said, it was an honor, but they really should be honoring Coach Philip Spain, who was the head football coach there for many years. Yeah. And they ultimately did. They did name the field after him.
correct.
And his name is on there today.
Wow.
That was really more important than my name being on the press box.
Yeah, I understand. I knew that's probably the way it worked, but it's neat. And a lot of people see that from now on. Little schools they got a nice football field now, or last couple of years at least.
They do. They have a great program, and it's a great school. And
yeah,
and I'm glad they're doing good things.
Yeah. So you mentioned a while ago when you got out of school, or you were in school still at Memphis, and you did some part-time or whatever out of the airlines. What was your first gig then? Because the airline industry definitely changed since back then.
Well, when I started, it was my title was a station agent. And basically, Frontier Airlines, the old Frontier Airlines, not the Frontier Airlines that's flying around today. This was a precursor to that, and they were headquartered out of Denver. And it was in Memphis. They were relatively small. Only had a few flights a day. And when you worked for an airline that only had a few flights a day, you basically got to do a lot. I might be working ticket counter 1 month. I may be working air freight the next month. I may be loading airplanes the next. So I got to really get a lot of experience doing a lot of different things as a station agent was the title at the time for an airline. And I did that for 5 years. And from there, I went to Holiday Inns, which was another travel industry business and the hotel business. At that time, Holiday Inn was the largest hotel company in the world, founded here in Memphis by Kemmons Wilson. And they were looking for some salespeople who would call on national accounts for them. And I had, of course, airline experience, and I also had travel agent experience. I spent about a year with one of the largest travel agencies in the country, selling corporate Fortune 500 accounts for them. And so that was my connection to get on with Holiday Inns, which is the largest hotel company in the world, headquartered here in Memphis.
All right.
And at that time, they were the largest hotel company in the world. And so that was a great experience for me. And I spent the next 6 years working at Holiday Inns in various different positions with them, from sports marketing to national sales. And then ultimately, when I left there, I ran their worldwide sales division for North America. So I had sales offices from Canada down to Mexico and about a half a dozen in the United States in different major cities. Of course, once again, I was headquartered in Memphis, so I was able to get an enormous amount of experience, and I didn't have to leave home. I could do it right here from Memphis because that was corporate headquarters.
All right. probably accrued a few sky miles.
A million. I'm almost 4 million miles
Yeah.
with Delta Airlines
Yeah.
now. So yeah,
Yeah, we're flying back in the good old days. You're flying back in the good old days. We
That's
used to get
right.
triple miles sometimes, didn't we? Back in the old days.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, 4 million in Delta. You get to land a plane or what? I mean,
Well, no, it gets you upgraded every now and then.
yeah,
So
well, yeah.
that's nice.
Isn't that sad that every now and then on a 4 million mile yacht? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, things have changed a lot, haven't they, over the years? So you got through Holiday
But
Inn.
anyway, that's how I led me to the current position that I now have been in for over 30 years. And just promoting Memphis. And it was funny when I worked for Holiday Inns, and I was literally traveling all over the world with them. And I would talk about how great Memphis was wherever I traveled, and to the point of where Holiday Inns, they nicknamed me Mr. Memphis, because I would end up talking more about how great Memphis was. I would almost do that more than I would be talking about Holiday Inns, which was my day job. So it was funny when I was fortunate to get this opportunity to lead tourism for the city in 1990. It was almost like my whole business career was training me for the opportunity to promote and market Memphis around the world.
That's so cool.
I want to ask you a question. When you say that, you're talking about promoting Memphis and stuff and we're, all these guys on here are lifelong Memphians too, for the most part. And because of the situations and the way we are now, of course, we're all older now. But how would you tell somebody who believes in Memphis and loves Memphis, how do I go and sell Memphis? It just on my part, what would you tell me to say to somebody?
Well, first of all, I think none of us are happy with the world we're living in post-COVID. Crime and lawlessness has been an uptick all over the United States. I know we think, oh, these are all just Memphis problems.
No.
And while maybe our problems may be a little bit more enhanced than other communities, but rest assured, nationwide crime is up north of 30% since COVID. And as they say, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. I really think that you had too many people, especially young people, that had too much free time on their hands because they couldn't go to school in person, or they couldn't work, or they couldn't go to structured places.
Right.
And unfortunately, you left a lot of too much idle time for people to get themselves in trouble. And unfortunately, we're trying to work out of that now. And I think if you look at the most recent crime statistics here in Memphis and Shelby County, crime for the first time after going up for the last 4 years is now finally starting to tick back down, from property crime to violent crime to even homicides. And of course, as I tell people, one violent crime, one property crime, one homicide is one too many. But at least we are starting to move in the right direction. And I know there's been a lot of blaming on whose fault it is. Is it this organization's fault? Is it another organization's fault? I mean, the bottom line is it's everybody. Unfortunately, it's everybody's problem, because we all are paying the price somehow, some way, with what has been going on around our country. And of course, right here in Memphis, in Shelby County in the last few years, I'm just glad to see things are finally moving in the right direction, because when we end up on the most dangerous this, or top 10 this, or top 5 this, and it's not flattering, unfortunately, that impacts travel and tourism. And this industry in Memphis and Shelby County brings over 13.5 million visitors a year for various reasons.
Right.
They spend over $4.2 billion. That's what they spend here. That generates close to over $400 million in taxes for the state and Shelby County. So, and we support north of 45,000 jobs in Memphis and Shelby County. So our industry is a major generator of economic activity for the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County. So not only does, a lot of our amenities really enhance the quality of life for all of us, the citizens that live here, but also these are drivers that generate much coveted tax dollars that because when people come here from another city and they're spending their hard-earned dollars that they might have made in Nashville, or they may have made it in Little Rock, or they may have made it in London, England, and they come and spend it in Memphis, well, all that tax revenue benefits us here in Memphis and Shelby County and supports a whole of jobs. What's important to our community. So that's why we pay such close attention to what is being said about us and what's going on when it comes to crime or anything that's not flattering to our community. But your initial question, how do we sell the city? Memphis is really an easy sell. There's a lot of unique, one of a kind, great amenities that people who have never visited Memphis can experience when they come here. We have a very eclectic collection of so many different things to do. If you're a family, we got a world-class zoo. We got a wonderful children's museum. We've got things that you can do on the river. Now, things at Tom Lee Park, Shelby Farms. We have great things for outdoor recreation with the Green Line and things like that. Or if you're a music lover, obviously, we rank right there at the top with cities like Nashville and others that have so much music, diverse music opportunities to take advantage of, whether it's from a historical standpoint or whether it is from what's going on and happening now. And if you love food and you love art and you love those things, we got amazing museums here that are only getting better. And of course, we have great restaurants and the Southern cuisine, and et cetera, et cetera. So we've got something that attracts a lot of people. And that's why we attract so many visitors here. And that's why they come from literally all over the world.
Right.
I think the important thing is for us to talk about what's going right with Memphis and Shelby County. We get enough of it beating our heads from the news and the media on a daily basis, what's going wrong. Sometimes we need to pause and talk about what's going right.
I agree.
Exactly. The rising tide lifts all ships. And so that's how we do. I'm proud to live here. I'm not interested in moving anywhere else. And we do all have to deal with those problems on a daily basis if you put yourself in that situation. But when we love to invite people here, and we all talk about this, and it's the biggest small town in the United States, I swear.
Yeah.
I believe, because we all know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody else. So it's
we really do. And it's an easy community to get around in. And we look at traffic jams as something that may take you 20 or 25 minutes. We think the world's coming to an end, and that's not considered a slow traffic at all in a lot of other markets.
Yeah. I've been to Atlanta enough to know that, and other places. How do you get people engaged and wanting to come and look? I mean, are you out? You probably got account managers and things like that, salespeople underneath you that go out and are constantly trying to pull in logos and sign up conventions or whatever it may be, soccer tournaments, baseball tournaments, all the things you talked about at the beginning. Is that the kind of way it works?
Yeah. Well, what we do, I mean, as I tell people, hospitality and tourism is not rocket science, but there is a science to it. And most cities have tourism bureaus. And usually most of us are structured where we have a team of people that literally call on meeting planners or sports planners or tour organizers that take people, even bus trips full of people from whether it's a church choir group or a seniors group or people that want to go experience different things. So there's all different kinds of what we refer to as market segments that we have people dedicated to those various areas, whether it's sports, whether it's corporate, whether it's national associations, fraternal organizations, religious organizations, and just mom, dad, and the kids or seniors that are looking for a place to go on vacations. We have salespeople that are deployed in all of those market segments, and we do that in a variety of ways. There's a lot of industry, what we call trade shows, where we can go and we can talk to the planners that are representing these various groups. And we do that literally all over the world, not around the country, literally all over the world. We have a public relations and communications team that does nothing except work with journalists and people that write stories about destinations. And people talk about things that are to do and experience in various destinations around the country and around the world. And we have a team of people that work towards that. We have a whole digital team that does nothing except fuel all the information on our websites or our blogs. We For 15 years, we've been operating the I Love Memphis blog,
Right.
which we started to really let Memphians know what there's cool to do and experience right here in our own town. Well, now the I Love Memphis blog, 15 years later, which has been voted most popular blog in Memphis, I think 14 of the last 15 years,
Wow.
is widely recognized as one of the major voices, gets information to not only locals, but also visitors on things that are happening and things that are worthwhile to experience if you come to our community. So we have a whole digital footprint that works all those various channels literally throughout the world. We have international offices. We have full-time employees in London and Paris, France, and Germany. We have a person that's in Australia. We have a firm that represents us in Japan. So we literally have representation in different areas around the world to promote Memphis and to get our message out of what there is to do and experience here. We approach it on various different ways. As an economic development organization, we have an annual budget. I think this year it's $18 million. We have just at Memphis Tourism, we got 35 full-time employees and some part-time employees. At the convention center that's under our management group called Memphis Management Group, we have another about 100 employees over there that operate the convention center for us. And that's how we operate. We do it from something as simple as developing television commercials that are shown all over the country, in some cases all over the world, to what we do in the digital space, to various websites and ways of that, like that. It's, as I say, it's not rocket science, but there is a little bit of a science to what we do. We also have a whole division that does nothing except work with attracting new employees to our industry and work on training our frontline employees. So frontline employees will know what there is to do and experience when they're here in town, what new restaurants have opened, what good things are happening at our museums or our attractions or our events. We try to reach the visitors in a lot of different ways, literally, through a lot of different vehicles to do that, to get the message to them that work for potential customers.
Sure. So I assume, like everything else, COVID was probably a little quiet in your world, I would assume, those year or two.
It was a weird time. A few of us did not work at home. We stayed in the office because our industry, our hotels were open during COVID. They weren't very busy, but they were open. And, so we felt like we needed to be there for our industry that was hurting. Our industry got, just clocked with shutdowns, mandatory shutdowns and travel bans, et cetera, et cetera. That was a very dark time for us. It was amazing how quickly we came out of it. And it shows the resiliency and the power of travel and tourism, because as soon as people could travel again, there was such a pent-up demand for people to take that trip and to begin to experience what the world has to offer as quickly as they can. And that is interesting to me how quickly we rebounded from COVID in our industry.
So I haven't been in the convention center in some long time. That was redone. What year was that finished up in?
A few years ago, it was under construction during COVID. It opened right at the end of COVID, 2021. It's been voted one of the nicest convention centers in America by Smart Meetings magazine 2 years in a row. It's a beautiful renovation. I don't call it a renovation. I really say it's a transformation. We took a building that was constructed in 1974 and was 50 years old, and we made it very modern, very efficient, with the needs the services and the capabilities that you have to provide for people who want to meet in convention centers or large meeting facilities, in the 2020s. And so we have more breakout meeting rooms. We have very flexible space. It's very modern and fresh, almost what I would call upper scale hotel quality.
Nice.
So it's a beautiful building and it's doing great things for us. In 2023, we only had less than 30 dark days, what we call dark days, where there was nothing going on in the building.
Really?
In the convention center. So it stays very busy.
Wow,
that's great.
It generates a lot of economic vitality for our industry and for our community.
What percent of that is out of town people coming in?
I would say that probably people from out of town that are in the convention center versus people locally.
Yes.
It's probably 65-35, 65 out
Okay.
of towners, 35
Because
locals.
obviously the out of towners are generating hotel revenue and restaurant revenue and all those other things too. So
Absolutely. There's also, that's the largest meeting facility we have in this part of the country. And so therefore a lot of Memphians find their way there. I mean, FedEx has a lot of their events there. St. Jude has a lot of their events there. AutoZone has their national sales meeting there. Church of God in Christ, one of the largest African-American denominations in the United States, has an annual convocation
I
here
think we
that
just about
brings
lost them, didn't we?
30,000 people in town. Right, it's right around the corner. It takes place in November, first week of November. So yeah, that attracts obviously out of towners, but also attracts a lot of locals too.
Sure, it's excellent. Yeah, I think Memphis almost lost the Kojic at one point, didn't we? Or didn't we for a year or so?
We did lose it. It went to St. Louis for about a half a dozen years. Came back a couple of years ago, and it's really and truly, don't want to be technical, it's probably a stretch for us because when they have their big election years, which is every 3 or 4 years, their attendance really increases, and that's almost more than what we can handle. And we didn't have Airbnbs and people's homes. A lot of them the delegates at Church of God in Christ was literally stay in church members' homes because there's such a shortage of accommodating all their needs. That's why they probably fit more conveniently in a St. Louis or an Atlanta, a city of that size.
How many hotel rooms do you have access to in the city? I mean, within a range of what you look at.
And downtown Memphis has about 4,500 hotel rooms, and countywide we have about 27,000 hotel rooms. But while that seems like a lot of rooms, and it is, but there are cities that have like, for example, Nashville has more than twice as many hotel rooms as we do. I mean, they're literally double our size when it comes to their hotel capabilities. Plus, they have a lot of large hotels that we don't have. We only have 5 hotels that are north of 350 rooms in Memphis. And that's a little bit of a downside for us when we're going after a medium to large size convention, because big conventions want to be in as few hotels as possible. And obviously with us, with having so few hotels that have what we call north of 350 guest rooms under one roof, it forces us to a lot more hotels to come up with the necessary rooms to accommodate some of the larger rooms that are.
I'm curious about the downtown hotel rooms. Are hotels being built on this little spot of land, that little spot of land? Are we saturated downtown, or are we below what our needs are, or how's that?
That's a great question. I would say it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, we need larger full-service hotels because we have only in downtown Memphis, you have the Sheraton has 600 rooms. And by the way, in full transparency, the Sheraton needs a lot of renovation, needs a lot of upgrading if we want it to mirror what we have done across the street with the convention center, which is beautiful, more modern, more efficient. And then we have the Peabody, which is 464 rooms. After that, our numbers drop in the 200s, the 100s, in some cases less than 100s. We only have 2 hotels in downtown Memphis that have north of 400 rooms. That's a little bit of a disadvantage now. We have close to 5,000 rooms in downtown Memphis, day in and day out. If we don't have a big convention, right now we probably have enough rooms to service the people that are staying in the downtown area. But when you have a big convention, then you don't have enough of the full service hotels, larger full service hotels you have. It cuts both ways depending on who we're trying to attract.
My wife and I have had I guess we would say for us, it would be the privilege of staying in the Cedar Lodge at the Bass Pro Shop. And I got to tell you, man, it just impressed us all. We just had the biggest time, the greatest room, the service and everything like that was something that, because you can't see it from the outside, right? There's no windows, but being on the inside, we were just so impressed with that part of it.
I'll give you one of your future questions that you may give one of your future guests. Ask them, can they name any hotels in Memphis that have no windows? And of course, the answer is Bass Pro.
Yeah.
The hotel at Bass Pro
There you go.
does not have any windows to look outside. So that's a great question. You can get one of your future podcast guests. I guarantee you will probably stump them.
Yeah, because somebody thinks about that. Yeah,
that's right. But the view from the hotel room balcony is outstanding. It's just different. It's like
it's beautiful. You're looking at the inside of Bass Pro. It's beautiful.
Right.
That's a great hotel. Johnny Morris did it. It's a first class hotel. It's great.
Yeah, we had Bill Dance on a month or so ago, and he told us I've heard so many rumors and different versions of how the Bass Pro got in the pyramid, and he told us exactly how it happened and the whole catfish thing. And
well, that's all true. And I will tell you that Bill Dance not only is probably responsible for the pyramid becoming Bass Pro, but also Bill Dance now is representing the state of Tennessee, and every fishing lake in the state now is branded with Bill Dance's fishing expertise. He wears, aside from wearing that big orange hat everywhere he goes, I mean, he represents the great state of Tennessee everywhere he goes with our outdoor recreation when it comes to fishing.
Well, I think he's one of the proud Memphians, though, but he's like us. He's not ashamed of where he lives. He loves it and he likes it.
Oh, absolutely.
And his home is here, and I didn't drag him away.
Right.
Much like all of those of us who believe like that.
After we finished his interview, his daughter sent myself and the other gentleman that helped us interview, sent us a gift. And I opened it. I had a feeling what it was going to be. I'm not a Tennessee fan. Not at all. Nothing orange. I hate Tennessee. I hate anyway, it was a big T hat, of course. So I have a display. It's displayed there right by me. It's all autographed, so I'll keep it. It's real. I appreciate it. It's really cool. But anyways, I thought, well, there you go. But
well, let me tell you something. He is a great Memphian, and he is really iconic in the world of fishing. And he is the real deal.
He is. He's been on TV since 1968. That has to be like the longest running anything, right? Of anywhere.
Maybe.
And I didn't know he had to sell Lance Russell on the idea to do it. And I thought, man, it's a small world, man. But if you get bored one day, you can listen to that podcast because it's pretty interesting. But so on an average year, you mentioned, you call it 30 dark days. I guess that's just 30 days that things aren't being utilized. Is that pretty normal, or?
No, our building is busier than most.
Okay.
So because as I say, we have the largest ballroom in Shelby County. We have the largest ballroom between here and Nashville, between here and St. Louis, and between here and New Orleans. So if you want to have a big banquet, you're most likely going to come to the Renaissance Convention Center in downtown Memphis.
How many will that seat, the banquet hall?
Well, we can, our main ballroom is 27,000 square feet. So we can get a couple thousand people, 1,500 to 1,800 people seated round tables in that. But we also, in our main hall, which is over 100,000 square feet, column-free space, 32 feet ceilings, we can get 4,000 or 5,000 people in there for a sit-down meal function.
That's a lot of chicken.
When we renovated the convention center, we carpeted our exhibit hall and really dressed it up and made it basically ballroom quality, and to make our exhibit hall even more flexible. So
wow,
it's pretty good size.
It is. We were down there for the new car show that they usually have every year, and
that's right.
So right after the renovation, and get to go through, and it looked just a spectacular week.
Oh yeah.
And get to go through there and see the various things, even from the lobby all the way up to where you're talking about.
Yeah, we work with Kent Ritchie and the people from the Mid-South auto dealerships. They are loving the improvements that we've done at the convention center.
Wow. So what's the furthest somebody's come to do a convention here?
Well, I mean, we've had international conventions here. I mean, we've had people that have been here from Europe.
Okay.
We've had people that have been here from Asia. We've literally attracted conventions from all over, but most of our conventions are either regional or it could be national. We get a lot of national associations that meet here that will attract people literally in some cases from not only all over the country, but at different parts of the world. So to us, it's really not where the convention's coming from, it's who the convention is bringing. It's what matters to me.
So, that's true.
If we can bring thousands and thousands of people from where they're staying in our hotels and eating in our restaurants and shopping at our retail outlets, that's the kind of convention we want to host.
All right, cool. I guess you're right when you talk about think of all the good stuff going on in Memphis, which we try to do here. But you brought to mind a lot of things that I don't think about on a regular basis because you live here. But there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good things you can sell here. Like you said, it's not that hard.
We have a great park system. In the last year and a half, we've opened a new indoor sports recreation complex at the fairground, and it's a fabulous facility. 16 basketball courts, 32 volleyball courts, or it can be transposed into doing anything from gymnastics to whatever you want to do, volleyball, etc., cheerleading, whatever it might be. So it's a close to 200,000 square foot facility right next to the Liberty Simmons football stadium. And that's allowing us to bring very large youth basketball tournaments and volleyball tournaments literally from all over the country. And, earlier this year, we opened the Lethbridge Tennis Center over on Southern Avenue, right next to the University of Memphis, right next door to the brand new $7 million renovated Audubon golf course. Yeah. Now we have a tennis facility, a public tennis facility that has 36 tennis courts, 24 outdoor and 12 indoor. It's allowing not only for the University of Memphis men's and women's programs to have a first-class tennis facility to play in, but it's also allows us to attract UST tennis tournaments for the youth and adults from all over the South. And that brings thousands of people here that stay in our hotels and eat in our restaurants, et cetera. We continue to make improvements to our park system. In the last year and a half of Mayor Jim Strickland's administration, over $100 million was invested in parks and community centers from one end of the city to the other. We've got over 140 miles of biking trails throughout Memphis and Shelby County. So there is just a lot of opportunity and activity for people to take advantage of, whether they live in our city or whether they're visiting in our city. And we try to promote and sell all those things as opportunities to appeal to somebody to give them a reason to come visit.
So, Kevin, as far as commerce goes in the city, do we have, and I know the mayors used to do this as like Dick Hackett and stuff. Do we have people who are trying to woo businesses to Memphis and things like that? Is still like we used to, or we're trying to bring international paper here and places like that? Do we have a vehicle for stuff like that?
Well, between the state, our local city and county government, and of course our Chamber of Commerce at the point of the spear, I think we've had some pretty substantial home runs over the last few years, whether it's a $6 billion Ford Blue Oval project or the Elon Musk supercomputer complex at the old Lux building out on President Island. I mean, these things are game changers, and they're investing billions, not millions, but billions of dollars into our community. I think quietly there's some game changers that are taking place in our community that, once again, a lot of Memphians don't, unless you're directly involved in it, you probably don't really realize all the great things that are happening. And then, and of course, right here in downtown Memphis, you got St. Jude that is spending literally investing billions, not millions, but billions of dollars, expanding their campus and expanding what their mission is all about, and changing childhood cancers of all forms or fashion. And if you see all the cranes around what St. Jude is doing, there's just some great things that are happening in our community that are positioning us for what I think is really a great future as we look 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Wow. I had a question on when I was thinking about it. Over at the Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, that there's more development to be done. I believe there's a hotel that's supposed to be built in that area. What's left to complete that complex?
Yes, there's going to be, it's a little slow, getting started a little slower than what I think the city wanted to, but eventually the infrastructure is now in place where the old Fairgrounds high school football stadium and where Tim McCarver, the baseball facility, used to be. But you're going to see eventually hotels, apartments, restaurants, and other amenities that will really make that a much more active stretch of Central Avenue between Hollywood and Parkway. I think you're going to see some real positive things take place there. And of course, right behind it, you got children's museum that is constantly improving their offerings of what they have to offer. And then right behind that, you've got $230 million being invested in our football stadium, making it more appealing and more exciting for fans to come. There's just a lot of great things happening in that footprint. You got to remember, and you guys are lifelong Memphians like I am, probably for many decades, that footprint between Southern Avenue, Hollywood, Central, and Parkway, that was probably one of the most widely spots as far as a footprint that had so many millions of people that would come to there during the year. Between the Mid-South Fair,
Right.
Liberty Land, of course, our football stadium, the Mid-South Coliseum, Tim McCarver Baseball Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at that footprint, and of course, Monday Night Wrestling,
Of course.
and the flea markets that used to take place on the weekends. But I mean, if you stop and think about how many millions of people that square, 4 blocks, that 4 streets held on a weekly basis for many decades. And I think you're going to see a lot of that come back, and a lot of that left for downtown Memphis when the pyramid was built and we started slowing down on usage of the Coliseum. And of course, when then the FedEx Forum was built, and of course, we still have the football stadium there, but you're going to see a lot of the glory days restore as far as that neighborhood really being a big attraction of bringing people from literally all over the country and all over the world.
Gotcha. As the university, as we talked earlier about, starts looking for, quote, always looking for a bigger conference, a better situation as far as sports go, does the university come to you for information or for or help as far as they start looking for stuff like that?
Well, we work, obviously, Dr. Ed Scott, the new athletic director, and our new president. We work closely with the university. We work closely with Coach Hardaway, Coach Cheryl Fields, our tennis coaches, our baseball coach. I mean, we're always looking at opportunities to work with our university to bring things to our community that obviously brings the visitors to our community. Yes, we got a great partnership with the University of Memphis. And of course, they are community players. They're always looking at what they can do to make Memphis a better place.
That's great.
How hard do you have to work? And we won't wind down here because see, we're at an hour and I want to respect your time. But how hard do you have to work to get like the NCAA basketball tournaments? That's a big deal, isn't it?
They usually come about every 3 to 5 years. We got burned a little bit a couple of years ago because it was our turn to get it. And that was during COVID when they decided at the last minute to move all of the regionals to Indianapolis. So we lost out on that year. Of course, we got back in the rotation. We had it 2 years after that. And it looks like they'll be back here. Probably, it may be 5 years before they return here. But we've been on a pretty consistent rotation that stretches somewhere between 3 and 5 years. Yeah, they love NCAA. We have a great relationship with them. They love the FedEx Forum. They love the Beale Street and the downtown package. It works really well for their men's and women's tournaments, and we'll continue that.
That's awesome. Well, I think we could ask a million more questions, but you certainly have been generous with your time. And Scott, I think you had 3 questions here.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let me just say one thing before we hang up.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I will tell you guys, when people ask me, Kevin, what is the secret bullet? When you look 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, it's one word, it's water, and not the Mississippi River. I'm talking about the artesian well water that lives below this city.
Yep.
It is going to be a game changer, continue to be a game changer. We just saw with Elon Musk, his desire to come here. But I will tell you, in the decades to come, our water is going to give Memphis a huge advantage over a lot of markets, a lot of cities around, not only around the country, but around the world. So I continue to say, even though I'm the tourism guy, I point out our secret weapon as I look towards the future of Memphis and Shelby County is our artesian well water below our city. I think it's our goal.
We live on a farm east of the city, and we have a well, and it goes down into that water. And I was going to tell you, nobody's ever upset about it when it comes out of that faucet.
No,
But
it's
Oh, that's
amazing.
good. It's amazing.
just
Okay, you
pure.
got 3 questions for me. I can't wait to
All right.
hear 'em.
All righty. So it's lifelong Memphians. And we're going to say this segment is brought to you by Courier Service Incorporated, because I know the guy that,
The owner's talking.
The owner's going. The owner's
There
on the
you
phone
go.
here. There you go. So anyway, so we do a lot of stuff on streets, Kevin, and we're going to test you here just a little bit. First question, I'll give you a little history here. The roads in Memphis proper, that would be downtown and midtown, are mainly defined as streets and avenues. What's the difference between a street and an avenue in Memphis?
Oh, gosh.
I heard this the other
Let's
day.
see.
I had no idea.
A street is primarily residential and an avenue is laced with commercial.
That's pretty good.
That is incorrect.
Is it avenues only go north and south and the east only goes east and west?
Okay, streets go north and south in Memphis.
Yeah.
Street, Second Street, Third Street, all go north
Right.
and south. Avenues go east and west.
East and west. Yeah, that was going to be my second. That was going to be my second.
But that's only
Okay, but
downtown,
there's a
right?
bonus. But well, in downtown and midtown, and then there is a bonus. There's only one exception to that.
Oh,
that rule.
gosh.
And what street is that?
Beale? No.
Beale Street. That's right.
That was a
Beale Street.
guess.
Beale Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beale Street. Okay, that's number one. All right.
Make it easier?
All right. Yeah. Well, okay. Now he may know this one too. Number two. All address numbers in Shelby County are measured from a single location. Where is it and what is it?
Boy, would that be?
Yep.
Would that be north and south? Would that be the parkways?
No. Okay, you got to go. You live downtown, I think. Right?
Something.
There's a cornerstone or a center stone at the corner of Front and Madison, in front of the law school, in front of the old post office, that sits on the sidewalk, and it has, this is the center point of Memphis.
Wow.
Right.
Man,
there.
I gotta get Jimmy Ogle, our
Yeah, you
our
do.
resident historian. If I had him with me right now, he could answer these questions.
All right. All right. And number three, all right, we're going to do a little history here. Of the 3 men credited with founding Memphis, which one has the longest street named after him?
The long street named after him.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Got to know who those guys are first.
Jackson.
Okay. That would be the second one.
So I'm 0 for 3. So Jackson doesn't have the longest street.
No, John, who is it? John Overton, right?
Overton's got a longer street.
No,
that's one of
he
the
is
3.
1.4 miles.
Okay.
He's
Yeah, I know
1.4
that.
miles. Andrew Jackson at 9 miles. And James Winchester
Oh,
has a
gosh.
street named
Oh,
after him.
Winchester, yeah.
That is 21 miles long.
Man, oh man, I'm 0 for 3. You know what? Hey, you need to strike this off of this podcast. 'Cause this guy can't answer these questions. He's over in the city. He needs to go.
We could re-record it now that you have the answers. You look
We
really
just-
smart.
I'm
kidding. I'm kidding.
joking.
We brought you a softball tournament, and here we are.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, one
So,
last thing, Kevin.
anyways.
Just to make you done with it, Scott? You got one more? Or yet?
Oh, that's all.
I think
I'm
you're
good.
done.
Yeah, I think I am done.
I think so. Well, sir, I appreciate your time. I know you're very busy.
I hope you get a few minutes out of that.
Oh no,
That makes sense.
I learned a lot today. I feel like I'm pretty proud today. I feel good.
There you go.
A lot of good going on
Thanks,
there.
guys, for having me.
Yes,
Good.
sir. Wow, man, that's a busy
That's-
dude.
He's got a lot of titles, man.
A lot,
just
lot of
a
hats.
lot of titles and a lot, and he does. And our city it's good to have somebody that we didn't bring in from the outside. Somebody who's grown up here
Oh yeah.
and knows people and is excited about Memphis. And it makes me so good about living here.
Didn't know he played Tiger basketball. I don't.
You
No
know,
memory of that.
That was fun to hear. And I was going, well, I probably was, because we used to sit, we've talked about this before. We used to sit right behind the pitch at the Coliseum when I
Right.
was growing up. And we went to the JV games, and that was a lot of, you just get to know those guys. The names are on the board over there. You don't have to remember that foul board that was
Oh yeah.
on
Oh,
the thing over there. But man, now I got to go back and do a little research. I'm thinking I thought I knew, but maybe I didn't.
Well, he mentioned a lot of guys, Kilzer and those guys. I remember all those names, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But a lot of the names he said, I probably couldn't come up with them, but I did recognize them. I knew they'd done a lot of work at the convention center. but I didn't have a clue what it turned out as. It sounds like it's just amazing. I mean, you've been in it, you said, with the car thing, I think you mentioned. So,
Yeah, so they have a car show there every year, and we went. Zach and my son Zach and I go just about every year, but just to see the convention center and the repairs, say repair, resurberation, however you want to do it, just the the renewing of the whole situation. But I was really taken aback by how many days he said that thing is used, and the amount of people that it supports, and the amount of people that support it.
like 30 days dark is a term he used. I guess that's a term in their industry, but I mean, it was used every day but 30 days. It's a great stat. Good night.
But that would be like just over 2 days a month, maybe.
Yeah, I think about that. That's true. Just another smart guy, obviously. Got a good team underneath him. Got offices in, what you say, London and Paris, and works with some company in Japan. Got Australia.
Australia?
Yeah.
You said Australia?
Yeah, he said Australia, man. I wish I was younger again. I'd go do hospitality and go do that. Sounds like a lot of fun. I travel all the time. I just was doing it for different reasons. He probably walks in a Delta flight and they say, "Good morning, Mr. Kane."
They may have an airplane named after
He
him.
might, 4 million miles. It's not shaking anything. And like you said, just a local guy. He's still going and growing and having a good time and doing a good job, obviously.
That's great.
The other thing we didn't mention, you mentioned all those other ones. I didn't think about it. Lynn Sittler, who we interviewed with the Memphis Film and TV. I mean, they've all got to work together. I mean, so that's cool.
I think my buzzer's going off here.
Yeah, I think the pizza's ready. You can get it out of the oven now. Well, folks, that'll end it for this week. And we appreciate you guys listening to us. Like and share us on Facebook, Instagram, and anywhere else you may see us. And Scott and I'll see you soon. How about that? Scott?
All right.
Have a good one, buddy.
Today, buddy.
All right, buddy.
You too. Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Maybe you met a new friend, learned something you didn't know, or just relaxed for a few minutes. We hope you join us next time on Memphis Mike and Friends as we look back, look around, and look ahead to all things Memphis. Until then, may God bless you as you travel life's highway.